Alright guys, you're probably wondering what you're looking at right now. Well, we're in my basement right now, and we're getting ready to do some painting before installation. This is the kit to add shocks to your hood to be able to raise your hood up without and holding it up without needing the stick. So my Jeep is the orange color, and I'm not sure what is actually going to be visible on these as far as the brackets go when it's all said and done, but I definitely do not want this gold to be visible underneath there, so I definitely want to paint that. And the pieces that are black, I think I want to go with the orange. I already have a can of that I ordered to match my paint, a spray can. So I'm going to first do a coat of primer on these, and then I'm going to paint them. Not this part will get painted. I have debated on that, but I won't. I'm going to keep this part black, but this I want orange, and these I want orange. Alright. Alright, so I've gone ahead and primed these brackets and put about 3 coats on them, and then a little light sanding. So these are the brackets here. I'm putting this whiteboard behind it so you can focus on exactly what I'm talking about. And then also on the actual lift shocks themselves, they have those kind of gold looking brackets down there. I've painted those as well, or primed those as well. So on both of those, and covered up the rest of it because I'm fine with that part being black. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is just start going ahead and paint these. And what I have over here are my spray paint. So this right here, I've used it for other things. I ordered it from Automotive Touch-Up, so it's my color for my Jeep, the base coat. And then I also have some clear coat that I'm going to put on there too. So I'm going to put probably about 3 coats of paint on there, and before that dries, then I'll put probably about another 3 coats of clear on there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get started over here, and hopefully don't get my wife upset with me for getting some paint on something down here. Don't try to do it all in one coat. Just get on there what you can, and then put on the first coat. Just put on a nice thin layer on the first coat. Let it dry for about 10 minutes, and then come back and do a slightly heavier coat. And this can is really leaking. Luckily, it's near the end of life. So I just need to get enough out to do what I'm doing. I'm just putting that first thin coat on, and that should be about it. And then I'll come over here and do these. I'm going to need my hands, but you give an idea what I'm doing up here. So I'll talk to you guys in a moment. Alright, starting to I'll put some clear coat on now, and put some clear coat on those ends too. Nothing fancy, just one the same color. So alright, just putting the last coats on of the clear coat, and then tomorrow should be ready to install everything. I ended up running out of paint. I thought it was more left in the can. I got a new can coming, but that's for doing the engine cover. And so it's not as many coats, and I didn't get every little spot like I would have liked, but it's just a bracket, so All right, by tomorrow, should be all okay. All right, and then we'll install that together. All right, guys, so I'm in my game room slash office right now. Everything has been painted. Like I said, I ran out of paint. Actually, I didn't run out of paint in the spray can. The 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 um, the air inside ran out, so I wasn't able to push the paint out for me. So I have another can coming for when I'm going to do my engine cover, but it's good enough for now, and I'll touch it up later when I have a chance. One of the things to note, which I didn't realize at the time, is that if you decide you want to paint yours, of course this isn't necessary, but if you ever wanted to paint yours before installing it, I had covered this all up with plastic and tape and everything. These just screw right off. So I could have just taken this off and just painted it by itself instead of having to paint instead of having to tape all of that end up. So just wanted to let you guys know that part. So those are the two struts, and this is everything you should have in your kit right here. You should have these two brackets here. You should have these two brackets, these two smaller brackets. Let's see here. Let me put you a little bit closer over here. So, of the screws and nuts that you have here, everything is Allen's wrench, and you have a mixture of 10 millimeter nuts and 13 millimeter nuts. So you should have, what is this, eight of the small screws or bolts, 2 of the longer bolts. You should have, six of the nuts, same size, and 2 of the larger nuts, and 2 washers. So this is what you should have in here. This will make sure that your hardware kit is complete, because I know some people complained about not having all the hardware that they needed in there. So now, for doing this, pull that back a little bit. What I'm having in here with me would be my ratchet, my 13 millimeter, my 10 millimeter, and a 13 millimeter and a 10 millimeter socket tube, and of course my Allen's wrench. I have both the ratchet and also the wrenches, because I'm not sure which direction I'll use. So I'm going to try to do I will do some pre-assembly in here prior to, but when I looked at some of the videos that dealt specifically with this particular kit, people lost over some certain parts, and I just want to bring closer attention to them. So if you notice, I have this labeled here, the rear of the Jeep. So this is to reference the rear of Jeep, driver's side, passenger side, and then front of Jeep. So if you, from orientation standpoint, you'll see where everything goes, okay? So front of Jeep, rear of Jeep, and then driver's side, passenger side. All right. Now, with that said, what we have here are the 2 brackets, and on the driver's side fender under the hood, this one will be set up like this. This part will be to the rear of the Jeep, and the same goes with this one on the passenger side. It'll be set up like that, with this to the rear of the Jeep. So you have a hole right here, an elongated hole. That's going to go into a pre-existing hole on your fender. You're going to need to remove the bolt that's in there, which is also a 10 millimeter, and then you'll use that bolt to bolt this back down to the hood of the fender of your Jeep. This back end right here, which is also elongated as well, will line up with a hole that's further back there, and that one they supplied the bolts for that. So there'll be just really 2 bolts. And the 2 holes that you see on top up here, these 2 holes, those will correspond with your bracket over here. So it will just go on there like that. It will be bolted down, okay? And they supplied the hardware for that as well. And so that same goes for the other side too as well. Fender, pre-existing hole, and then for the strut. For these right here, these 2 right here, what goes on the hood. They are slightly different. The angle is slightly different, and that's part of the ones where people have glossed over on. There's an angle on these, if you can see them, that are slightly different, that make them different for each one. So you do have a specific one for the driver's side and a specific one for the passenger side. So on the hood, imagine the hood is on the top right here. So we'll say this piece of paper is your hood. It will mount under there like that. So this will be mounted under your hood like that. And your hood is on an angle, right? Because when it's open, it's on an angle. So to know which one to use, just look at it. And so you want one that kind of goes with that angle going, the angle of your hood going up. So you'll see what I mean. So basically, there's going to be more material towards the front of the hood on here and with less material. So that's when you know you'll have it. Oh, I'm sorry, I have it put up here incorrectly. I'm sorry. It'll be like this. So your angle will be, again, the same way though. I'm sorry. It will be that way on there. If I can see that. So it's going to be under your hood with the bolted to your hood. And then to know which one goes on there, it's going to be more material right here to the rear of your Jeep and less material to the front. So basically this is roughly we'll say an inch right here. So the back should be, say, an inch and a quarter. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not sure exactly how much it is, but it's going to be longer towards the rear than it is towards the front. And then that, of course, will mean the default that one goes onto the passenger side. Another thing people gloss over are these little things right here. So they don't even mention them. They go with these. And the way they go is that this gets bolted to your hood. If you look under your hood, it's an elongated hole that you're going to put it in that looks similar to this under your hood. It's an elongated hole like that. So the way this works out is that inside of here, these are threaded. These are threaded for these longer bolts over here. I'm sorry, not for the long ones, for the short ones. They're threaded so that you can just thread those in there like that. And so the way you're going to do it is you're going to put this on the back end of it, so the part that would be against the hood of the car. So this will be against the hood of this side will be against the hood of your Jeep, the underside of your Jeep. So basically, you're going to put that on the back end like that. And then you're going to screw that in. Probably just one. We'll find out what works best once we get out there. And then once you get it inside of that elongated hole, this right here will be on the back side of that elongated hole, and then that's going to help when you tighten it down to hold it up against there, So to visually kind of represent, it's going to be, this is your hood of your car. Imagine this is your hood. This is the part you see right here, and this is the part you don't see. All right? You will basically be fishing that through that hole, right? And it's going to end up setting up in there. Not by itself, though. You're going to do it when it's attached to the bracket. Now, when this bracket is on here, basically, like so. When this bracket is on here, what it is when you tighten up, imagine the two bolts are in here. When you tighten those bolts up, it's going to tighten this around here, and you see the material that's longer than the elongated hole. That is what's going to draw up against to be able to hold this bolt, to hold this bracket on there, and that's how that works. So you'll have one bolt on there initially, and so you're going to fish the other one through to try to find the other hole once you're in there. Most likely that's how we're going to do it. And then, so that's probably going to be the most time-consuming part, finding that hole when we put that up in there. but we'll figure that out once we're in there. So that's how it sits. So I just wanted to make that clear, and we'll go over it even more when we're out there with the car. Back to the bolts. That's the 4 right here, the 4 smaller bolts, and the nuts. Those go on here and on here, over here. So these right here, we'll take those. All right, for the struts. So those will mount the struts to them. Those 4 and those nuts. And then the other, I already have one in here. I'll take it back out so you'll be able to see it. The other 4 here doesn't have nuts. Those go with these brackets right here because these have threads in them. You don't need the nuts. So you have the 4 that goes over here. Now the 2 longer ones, bolts with the nuts and the washers, those are going to be used for those pre-existing holes on the back ends, one here and one here, one here and one here. All right. And then the 2 bigger nuts will go on to this end down here when you put it on into the bracket. See, so that just will work onto that. So that's to show you where all the hair wire goes, how it goes, and so I'll meet you guys out at the Jeep and we'll put this on, okay? There was one thing I wanted to do before going out, which I said at the beginning, was to put some of this together before going out to the Jeep, and that's what I'm going to do now. So basically, this will be on there as such. So I just want to go ahead and put some of this together. So there's less to do outside in the cold. It's actually pretty nice out in Wisconsin today. It's in the 40s. So for us, this is springtime. This is put your shorts on and go out and enjoy yourself type weather. And hold on here. I wanted to have some Loctite because I wanted to put Loctite on these. All right, so I have my Loctite here, and so I want to just be prepared because the last thing I want to do is have to get out there and torque things down, retighten things down every once in a while because they're coming loose. So I figured just put a little Loctite on there now, just to be safe. It's red, but I don't care. I don't foresee. It's not like I'm doing a water pump or something, so I'm just going to use whatever I have and tighten this on down. Alright, so I'll hold that on there, get out my Allen's wrench, and put some meat behind that. There we go, nice and tight. Now I'm going to do the other one here. Haha, I think I made it a little too tight. Now I can't slide that over. I got to back that out just a little bit in order to be able to line up the other 2 holes. A little bit more than that. There we go. All right, now the other hole is lined up. I'll put that in. And again, put a little bit of Loctite on there. Put that in. All right. Now I can do a proper tightening down of both. Hold to one side. I'll make you sit just do one side. I'll do the one side off, the other side off camera, but I figure I'll just do one side at least. to have it all ready. And trying to go too fast here. The wife and kids are out, so I figure I'll be able to get this done before they get back. Alright, now that I have that, and I'll do the other one as well, I would like to do these two as well. But I also want to do some Loctite on there, so I'm debating how I'm going to do that. So I'll probably wait until I'm in the garage when I do these right here, because I was planning on putting these in a little bit, but I also want to make sure some Loctite get on those threads, so I don't want to put it on there and have it dry up too early. So I'm going to take this on out and we'll get this party started. Alright, so we're actually outside. Like I said, it's warm out. It's about 40 degrees outside today, so we're going to do this outside. Better light for you guys and not all the noise from the heater. So I'm on that driver's side, and this is where the bracket is going to go. We're going to remove this bolt right here, and this these relays, they're in right here. We're just going to remove this right here to take that out. We'll put it back on through the bolt that we're going to put in there, but we're going to use the hole there for that. And this is the hood right here, and that's the elongated hole that I was talking about that we're going to be using. And the same is going to happen over here on the passenger side. I'm just going to have to remove the zip tie that I'm using to hold up the wire for my amp. I'm just going to do that, and then have the use the elongated hole over here. So I'm going to get you guys set up over here, try to get you guys in a good spot, and we'll get started on it, okay? So I think I'll bring you around over here first, so you guys can get a good view of what's going on. So first, what I'll do is I'll use my needle nose just to take out this little push pin over here. And we won't be reusing that push pin once we get it out of there. So if you destroy it, if you didn't get out, no big deal. With it being cold out here, plastic, as we know, isn't the most isn't the easiest to use, but there we are, and that's it right there. So now that that's out, I'll bring it around so you guys can see this right here. So now it's nice and free, right? So get you back set up over here so that you can see, and you can see the hole right here. That's the hole. So now we're going to take our bracket, and it's going to be, let's see here, this bracket here, which, oops, grabbed the wrong one. So it's going to be that bracket there. It's going to be like that. So let me take that bolt out. I believe you should be able to see that. Yep. A little quicker. Alright, there we go. And that's just a 10 millimeter, like I said earlier. So now we'll take this and, oops, grab the wrong one again. And make sure I grab the right one this time. Alright. and it's just going to go in there as such. I'm supposed to have done it that way. Yep, I put it in upside down. All right, so back, and I wonder who caught the error I made in the office. So when I was putting the bracket together in the office, I put it on the other side of that in air, not on the top side like I was supposed to. So I quickly went around and flipped it back around. So instead of having it on this side, I had to flip it around to this side. So my bad, but that's real life, right? So now we're going to go ahead and put this on back together. And first thing I'll do is hand thread in back the factory bolt down here, just to hold it in there. So I won't tighten it down. And now once that is there, and you probably can see now why I painted these, it looks a bit better. I know I have to touch it up given I ran out of paint, but I think it looks better than having those black bolts there. Looks more factory now. So now I'm going to take these right here, and just to make sure I have the right one, let's see here. Let's see here. Just a second, I'll bring you guys into the loop. So, and just to make sure what I said in the office applies to what I'm saying out here, I would say that let's see here. I would say that, so this one is here with more material to the back and less material to the front. All right. So now get out my Loctite. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna bring you guys around here for this one, since this angle I think is probably a bit better for it. And that is what I'm going to be working on right there. All right. So, let's see here. So I will now take a bit of Loctite now that I'm out here. Oops, that's in my inside coat pocket. The sun is going on in, so the temperature is definitely dropping quickly out here. So I have to move quickly to get this done. All right, get my Loctite open. Put a little bit on one of the boats. Just, oops. Haven't been in that. All right, so this will be on there like that. So that means I need the bolt on this side and Loctite all over the place, of course. And then I want this to be screwed into there. So I'm going to put a little extra. Ooh, I'm really going crazy with the Loctite here. I had to wipe that up. This time I'm going to use some blue Loctite. So my hands are getting a little cold now, so it would have been better to have done as much as I can inside. Alright, so I have that set up like that. And what we're going to do, we're going to feed that in like that. You see that? Because I don't think that would not be possible with both screws in. I'm hoping you guys were able to see that. I'm going to do it from see if I can get you guys a bit closer to see exactly what I was doing. Alright, can you see that? So that little piece is going to go up in there like that, and it's going to be like that. And now I got to thread the other bolt up in there in order to make that work. Alright, so I'll set that right there. I'll come over here, make sure you guys have a good view. Zoom in a little bit. And what I'm going to do is take one of my shorties with my Allen's wrench and see if I can feed that in there. And I don't think this is going to be something easy at all. I don't want to dry screws that. What I can do is probably tighten this down a bit get it closer. Yep. It's right there, so I can see the other side of the hole. So if I can tighten this enough down to hold it in spot place for me. Right about there. I think it's going to be not bad at all. Let me put a little Loctite on there while I can. Hard one. I'm going to bring you guys back around here and finish up on this bracket down here. Alright. Finish up on this bracket down here. So now I'm going to take the long bolt with one of those two washers, and that on in there through there. I got one of the nuts too as well. And I'm going to feed that through that hole. Then put a little Loctite on there. And remember to put the that relay bracket back on there before you put your nut on. Alright. Now I can tighten this on down. That, and I'll get my socket out. Tighten that down. And then at that point, should be able to now go up to the bracket. Right there. And get the bigger bolt. I'm sorry, the bigger nut. So now feed that in through this side over here. Put the nut on. That's the 13. And I need a, let's see here, would that be a 13 in there too? Maybe a 12. Let me grab a quick 12. Okay. I think I grabbed the 11 actually. But I guess I should have grabbed the 12. Of course, I'll have a 12 sitting down here. Ah, here we go. I have a guess it is 13. Okay. If that's the case then, I'll do it this way. I'll get my 13. All right. This way and use this to hold that. All right. And bring you guys out here so you can see it a little better. All right, oh, let me zoom you guys out a little bit. All right, so there's the setup right there. So that's the driver's side done. And now we're gonna go in and we're gonna do the passenger side, okay? All right, so now we're on the passenger side and we're gonna remove this bolt right here. And I'm going to snip the zip tie I have up here holding the cable to my amp. The power cable to my amp. I'm going to snip that because we're going to need that hole right there. So I'll go ahead and snip that first to get that out of the way. That will give us full access to that hole. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove this bolt. Dexterity in my fingers because the temperatures are definitely starting to drop out here. All right, so I got that bolt out, and so now I'm going to take my bracket here and I'm going to just set it over in there as such. Right, and so now I'm first going to take my factory bolt and hand tighten it back down in there, leaving enough room so I can still adjust this as needed. Let me get the socket because again I'm losing the dexterity in my fingers now, so I'm going to use that to help me. Right, got that. And now I want to put that long bolt back here with the washer and the nut. So I'm getting the washer, I got the washer, and I got, oops, almost lost the nut. The nut and bolt, so I'll fish through the bolt through the washer and I'll put it through here. Go. And now I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on there. Alright, and then take my nut and hope I don't lose it. Now that I have that in there, now I can tighten it down. So I'll get my Allen wrench, and I'm going to need my 10mm wrench to tighten that down. Trying to do it in a way where I don't completely block the camera. done, now I can go ahead and finish tightening down this one here. So now that's tightened down. So now at this point, I'm able to deal with the bracket up top. So I'll bring you guys back around here. And I believe you got a good view of it right there. Zoom you in a bit. All right. And so here's the bracket here. So remember, it's going to go in like that. Here it is. So I like to do it on the top one. I think putting it in the bolt, pre-putting in the bolt on the top one works the best. Because then you can take it and you can fish it through like that. Bring it up a bit, and then get your Allen's wrench and tighten it down a bit first. And then while you get that tightened down, you can look in there and line it up. See, I just took the Allen's wrench, stuck it in there, and lined the holes up already. So now that that's lined up, I can get out my bolt here, put a little bit of Loctite on there. And now that I got a little Loctite on there, I'll take it and I'll fish it through. If everything goes right, which it is, going right in. Straightening that out a bit. Tightening that down. As such. All right, and now I'm going to take my shot, and hopefully you guys can see that. Yep. And I'm going to do it from the inside, like that. I believe it's from the inside. I wouldn't think it's from the outside. Yeah, I wouldn't think it's from the inside. Outside. I'm gonna go from the outside. If it's wrong, I'll let you guys know. I don't keep anything from you guys. And let's see here. I have that. I'm just debating on whether it should be on the inside or on the outside. All right. Yeah, I think it should point outward, so that's what I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to flip the other one around. I think the bolt should point outwardly. So first I'll feed that on a bit. Go. And I got that. Now I'm going to have my 13mm there and use the ratchet to hold that in. The ratchet to hold that in. Alright, so I'll have that here. I'll have this on that side. Less room to work with the boat out there. Alright, starting to spin in there. So I'm going to need to grab another 13mm. I'm going to grab a second 13mm ratchet. Wrench. All right. So I have that one. Now I did put this one on in the other direction, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and flip that around too. So I believe the other side. The directions are really poor on this, so you kind of like just figuring it out as you go along. The directions are nothing but a set of useless pictures. So. We're going to lose that. I'm going to take that and just flip it this way. Easy peasy. No biggie as long as I don't lose the bolt. We'll lose the bolt with these cold hands. So I think I'll get my ratchet, release the socket from the ratchet to help me feed it on there. And the hands aren't cold, it wouldn't be a big deal. But now my hands are getting, fingertips are getting numb. All right. Put that in there. All right, here we go. Zoom you guys out a bit. Ha ha ha. I don't even think, there we go. Now, these right here are the 4 instructions that they give with it. And if you got the same one as me, you know exactly what I mean. Whereas you only get a bunch of pictures. Oops, upside down. Just a bunch of pictures and not much else. So you kind of figure out how the brackets go on your own. So now that I have that in, now let's go back a bit here and see how they work. Everything went right. It should close for us. Get that out of there because we won't need that anymore. And we should be able to put it down. Just making sure it's not binding up on anything. Making sure that, yep, that looks good. All right. See if you guys can see that. Bring it back. So everyone. This was that Hooke, I think it's Hooke hood shot installation. Pretty easy. Shouldn't take as long as I took because I was doing a tutorial along the way. But I think it's nice now to have that ability to lift that up like that. All right. So thanks again, guys. I'll keep you updated to see how it goes long term.